Mary Magdalene, one of the most mysterious figures in biblical history. This woman, a witness to the life and death of Jesus, to whom Jesus revealed a special secret knowledge that has come down to us through the Gospel of Mary, even though it's not included in the official Bible. Today, the Gospel of Mary was an important and highly regarded text among early Christian communities, and it's one of the most unique Gnostic Gospels. The exact date it was written is unknown, but, according to some sources, it dates back to the 2nd century AD. Was Mary Magdalene the first among Christ's apostles? Today, we're going to take a slightly different look at Mary herself, and we'll let everyone draw their own conclusions from this new episode of The Premiere. Over the last few decades, the Gospel of Mary has become more popular, mostly because of Dan Brown's best-selling book, The Da Vinci Code. Brown uses the Gospel of Mary as proof that Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ were deeply in love, had a relationship, and maybe even got married. Did the Catholic Church know about a secret relationship between Jesus and Mary? Did they hide it on purpose? According to Dan Brown, it's possible, but is it really the truth? Does the Gospel of Mary give us historically accurate information about the relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Did they really have such a relationship, or was Mary a faithful disciple and someone who knew secret knowledge? The Gnostic Gospel of Philip says there were three who always walked with the Lord: Mary, his mother and his sister, and Magdalene, the one who was called his companion. The Lord loved Mary Magdalene more than all the disciples and often kissed her. The other disciples, seeing that he loved Mary, said to him, "Why do you love her more than all of us?" The Savior replied and said to them, "Why don't I love you like her?" But who really was Mary Magdalene? What we know about her comes more from later Christian tradition than from the Bible itself. For example, there's no proof in the New Testament that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. Rather, Luke 7:36-50 talks about women who were sinners and who anointed Jesus' feet with precious oils. She's an important figure in Christianity because she was one of the first to see the empty tomb and the resurrected Jesus in the four Gospels of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. However, later Christian tradition connects the image of Mary Magdalene with the woman described by Luke, probably to downplay Mary's importance. The Gospel is written from Mary Magdalene's point of view, but it's not thought to have been written by her. The writing style, grammar, and theology suggest it was written in the 2nd century AD at the earliest, long after Mary's time. The manuscript itself is a 5th century Coptic version, probably translated from an earlier Greek or Syriac text. According to some theories, it could be an Old Bulgarian text. The Gospel is the only canonical or non-canonical Gospel attributed to a woman. Mary Magdalene is known as Jesus' favorite disciple. The Gospel of Mary claims that Mary Magdalene had visions and conversations with Jesus that weren't shared with the other disciples. Jesus revealed a special kind of knowledge to Mary, as she was considered worthy of this exceptional gnosis. The Gospel of Mary consists of 4 short dialogues that offer fascinating glimpses into Jesus' teachings, apostleship, and Mary Magdalene's unique role among the disciples. As a typical 2nd century Gnostic text, it contains a significant amount of Gnostic theology and cosmology. It can be considered an apocalypse, from the Greek meaning revelation, generally referring to secret knowledge. However, it also contains unique insight into the actual metaphysics upon which Jesus based his teachings. It's a fundamental text for anyone seeking divine wisdom. The Gospel can be divided into 2 parts. The first part describes a dialogue between the resurrected Jesus and his disciples, in which Jesus answers questions about matter and sin, and gives final teachings and instructions to his disciples. Peter said to him, "Since you have explained everything to us, tell us this also: what is the sin of the world?" The Savior answered, "There is no sin, but you commit sin when you do things that are of the nature of adultery, which is called sin. That is why the good came to you, to the essence of every nature, to restore it to its root." This teaching tells us there is no universal sin, and sin only comes when we act according to the nature of sin. Sin comes from us, humans, when we act against the good within us and follow the desire that is contrary to the good. Jesus continued, "That is why you are sick and you die, because you love what deceives you. Whoever understands will understand much. Passion arises from excessive attachment to matter, which leads to confusion that resonates throughout the whole person. Jesus added, "That is why I have said to you, find satisfaction at the level of the heart. If you are discouraged, rest in the presence of the image of your true nature. Let those who have ears hear." The first part ends with Jesus' final farewell to his disciples, in which he warns them against those who might deceive them and encourages them to go and preach the gospel. When Jesus leaves, the disciples are in despair, but Mary stands up and encourages them. "Be careful that no one deceives you by saying, 'Here he is,' or 'There he is,' for the Son of Man is within you. Follow him, those who seek him will find him." After he said this, he left, and they were sad and wept greatly, saying, "How shall we go and preach the gospel of the kingdom of the Son of Man?" They did not spare him, so how will they spare us? Then Mary stood up, greeted them all, and said to her brothers and sisters, "Do not be sad and do not doubt, for his grace will be with you all and will protect you. Let us praise his greatness, for he has prepared us and made us human." It's interesting to note that, in the Gospel of Mary, Jesus says that the nature of matter will be restored to its essence, to its root. This means the good in each of us will finally be restored to the ultimate good, and everyone will eventually be saved. The second part of the Gospel of Mary begins with Peter telling Mary Magdalene that Jesus loved her more than any other woman. He encourages her to share with the other disciples the Savior's words that she remembers, but they haven't heard. "Sister, you know that the Savior loved you more than the other women. Tell us the words of the Savior that you remember, that you know, and that we don't know and haven't heard." Mary answered and said, "What is hidden from you, I will reveal to you." And she began to tell them these words. She said, "I saw the Lord in a vision. I said to him, 'Lord, I saw you today in a vision.' He replied and said to me, 'Blessed are you, for you did not hesitate before my sight, for where the mind is, there is the treasure.' And I said to him, 'Lord, now tell me, the one who contemplates the vision, does he see it with the soul or with the spirit?' The Savior answered and said, 'He contemplates it neither with the soul nor with the spirit, but with the intellect which is between the two.'" Here, we see the first principle of Hermeticism. All is mind. The world is mental, and everything exists in unity. Everything that exists is one, and the one contains everything. Throughout the Gospel, the focus is on the soul's journey, which ascends through 4 levels of the cosmos and is questioned by 4 powers. The Gospel also teaches that knowledge is the key to overcoming these 4 powers, which leads to salvation. After overcoming the 3rd power, the soul ascends higher and confronts the 4th power in 7 forms. The first is darkness, the second is desire, the third is ignorance, the fourth is deadly jealousy, the fifth is the torment of the flesh, the sixth is the deceit of the flesh, and the 7th is pitiless wisdom. These are the 7 powers of wrath. Andrew replied and said to his brothers, "Say what you want to say about what she said. I, for one, do not believe that the Savior said that, for these teachings are certainly strange." Peter replied and said about the same things, "Did the Savior really speak privately with a woman and not openly with us? Are we now to turn and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" Then Mary cried and said to Peter, "Brother Peter, what do you think? Do you think that I made this up in my own mind, or that I am lying about the Savior?" Levi answered and said to Peter, "Peter, you are always angry. Now I see that you are competing with a woman as if you were adversaries. But if the Savior made her worthy, who are you to reject her? The Savior knows her very well. That is why he loves her more than us. Rather, we should be ashamed and clothe ourselves with the perfect man, and go forth as he commanded us, and preach the gospel, without establishing any other rules or laws than what the Savior said." In the esoteric book, The Source, a slightly different story is told about Mary, which you've probably never heard before, but the time has come. Namely, that Mary Magdalene did indeed have a relationship with Jesus, but not with the physical figure of Jesus, but with the source. I have only one question. Did you have a relationship with Jesus? Some say you were his wife, others that you were only a disciple, which is true. The answer is, yes, I had a relationship with Jesus. My connection is the source. Isn't that what you call it now? In the source, we are all one. I am him and he is me. I am both the source and Jesus. We were told that Mary Magdalene had a husband and children, 2 boys, but besides that she had another child, born of faith in Jesus and the source, named Julia. When she was a disciple of Jesus, Mary Magdalene accepted the task of writing a gospel about the inner possibilities of every human being, and with him, to prove these possibilities through personal experiences. I learned and acquired the skills to put into practice the knowledge that Jesus taught us. However, I hesitated, I procrastinated until it was too late. Jesus was gone, and 13 years later, as I was on the verge of death, I remembered his words, "Faith in life is life." At 43 years old, alone, without family, sick, and without the strength to live, I decided to apply what I had learned from Jesus. With faith in the source, I found life again. I wanted a child, which was impossible in my condition. Yet, through faith and patience, I succeeded. For several months I prayed, and my desire built up like a ball of yarn day after day, until it became a ball of light. I sent a ray of light with all my faith into the center of this ball. I didn't know what was happening, but after a few months I felt a child within me. I gave up on life to accept life. Through faith in the source, I gave life. While raising Julia, Mary collected and described everything related to hope, faith, purity of mind, and its power of creation. The message she wrote was called Magisterium. Manu means hand, sterium means purity, means spirit, the story of man's possibilities through the energy of the pure mind. Mary describes the world as an unstable illusion, a play of light and oscillations around darkness. When man unites his thoughts and faith with the Creator, sending a pulse of energy to his desire, life appears, and the desire materializes. Whatever this emptiness, it has filled me with strength and hope that everything is possible. This impulse that caused the birth of life exists in each of us. Every impulse sent with the same faith manifests, and each of us can create other manifestations. She described this art of creation as a chalice where faith and emptiness meet, a chalice that is both full and empty. When man wants to create something, what is full pours into the void, and the void is filled with your faith, which becomes the miracle you expect. This chalice is the Holy Grail, through which each person becomes a creator. You connect to it and create the world with all your love. You discover that all of this is just an impulse of your thought. For this to happen, you must accept the body and renounce the body. By connecting with the impulse and the void that you are, the pure faith that you are, that this is all there is. And remember, this chalice is real. It's interesting to note that Mary, considered by many to be a sinner, and who knew she could no longer have children, is precisely the one who finds the way to connect to the source and become a creator. If we connect this story to the Gospel of Mary, we find precise, practical instructions regarding this sacrament. The most important thing is that everyone can achieve it. What Mary learned, experienced, and described constitutes a document containing both the knowledge of Jesus and the practical results accessible to everyone. Thus, everyone becomes a source and creator of their own reality. Those who have eyes to see will see. Those who have a mind to think will understand. Those who have a soul to feel will penetrate this truth. Is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene historically accurate regarding the relationship between Mary and Jesus? The truth is, we may never know. What we do know is that the Gospel of Mary offers a unique perspective on the life and teachings of Jesus, written from the point of view of a woman who was highly respected and revered among the early Christian communities. Although the Gospel of Mary was considered an important and valuable text among early Christian communities, it was eventually excluded from the New Testament and condemned as heretical by the Roman Catholic Church. Regardless of the debates and controversies surrounding the Gospel of Mary, Mary Magdalene remains an important figure in Christianity, and a source of inspiration for many people around the world. Her story reminds us of the power of faith, love, and perseverance, and her legacy continues to inspire us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. What we choose to accept and believe remains a matter of free will. Ultimately, everyone is entitled to their right, but we will add, it is only by being able to connect and understand seemingly opposing points of view that we can perceive the pure message. We bow to you and thank you for watching another episode of this first one. Keep an open mind, and see you soon.